Hello, guys. Welcome back to Movie Talk. Oh my God. It is the first time since March 2020 that I actually went to a movie theater. Seriously, the last time I went there, March 2020, I saw Onward. Now it is July 2021, and the first movie I decided to watch is Black Widow. Okay, so before I get into spoilers, I'll just say this. I mostly enjoyed the movie. I thought the finale was a bit of a mess, mostly because of Taskmaster and the reveal about him. I thought that Scarlett Johansson was still good as Black Widow. I liked Rachel Weisz. I really love Florence Poe. I can't pronounce her last name. I'm sorry. I think it's Poe. Florence Poe as Yelena and David Harbour as the Red Guardian. They were both excellent. There is a scene at the end of the credits. There's no mid credits, but there is a end credit scene. And yeah, I thought the action scenes were mostly pretty good. There's some iffy camera work on some of the close-up shots. Like if it's edited too quickly, it's close up and it's a little shaky cam. I really hate that shit. But for the most part, the action is competent. I thought that the fights against Taskmaster were mostly good. Again, it's just the finale was a mess. There are some cool action shots in the finale, but you pretty much seen them in the trailers, you know, of her diving, skydiving, and there's Taskmaster, and she was on a piece of the satellite or something like that, or on a giant piece of metal with glass and stuff like that. Yeah, if you've seen that in the trailer, that's in the movie, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, a lot of the action scenes are pretty good. So I would say that I enjoyed this movie a lot more than Captain Marvel. And I know some people are saying like Captain Marvel is one of the worst Marvel movies, but I did enjoy Captain Marvel to an extent. I like Brie Larson. I like her version of Captain Marvel in it. But I will say that when I rewatched it again, it's a bit of a mess. I don't know if it's because I had two directors, maybe two different points of view and stuff like that, but it didn't seem like it was competent enough. And I didn't feel like the humor really landed that much in that movie. But some parts I still enjoyed, like Goose and stuff like that. But I would say for a movie with heart and good action, Black Widow is much better than Captain Marvel. I'll say that. So now the spoilers. Okay. So I have to talk about Taskmaster. I haven't been disappointed in like a Marvel villain ever since the Silver Samurai in the Wolverine. If you've seen the Wolverine, and you know what I'm talking about with the Silver Samurai, like they actually have the character who plays Silver Samurai, but they decide to do a different thing with him, completely destroying the character, and instead just make him like a giant robot. And yeah, it could be cool, and the effect looked cool in certain parts, but mostly it was a disappointment because they could have done Silver Samurai justice, but they decided to go that route. So, I that's the same thing with me with Taskmaster. I wouldn't say it made me as angry as like the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, but I was very disappointed in Taskmaster in this. I mean, and it's there's a big reason why Taskmaster did not talk at all in any of the commercials or the trailers. There's a big reason. And a lot of people speculated it, me included, but I was kind of wrong in that. So every time they show off Taskmaster, and I realized that Rachel Weisz is also in it, I kept thinking that Taskmaster is actually Rachel Weisz. That's what I kept thinking. But no, I was wrong about that. Taskmaster is not Rachel Weisz, even though they are pretty much the same height. And yes, Taskmaster has like a more masculine build, but again, that's just armor though. So yeah, I was wrong with that. But I am kind of right though. Taskmaster is a woman. And here's the thing, I'm not against Taskmaster being a woman. I am not. I am not. I just want the character to be done with justice. But what more they did to him just ruins the character for me. He barely talks in this. Well, she barely talks in this. And you kind of know who it is by the opening credits. And that's the thing. If you know names, if you know the names of actors and actresses pretty well, when you see in the opening credits, when you see this actress name and you're waiting for her to show up the entire movie, but then you realize that, oh, she has to be Taskmaster. Yep, that's who it is. It's Olga Korolienko. If you don't really know her, she's the Bond girl from Quantum of Solace. She was also in the Tom Cruise movie Oblivion, where she played Jack's wife in that movie. And I believe she was also in the first Hitman movie. I could be wrong. I think she was in that one. But yeah, I like the actress. I really do. And she's gorgeous. And I really liked her in Quantum of Solace. And that movie was a mess. But yeah, she's... You see her name in the opening credits, and if you know who she is, you're just waiting to see her, waiting for her to show up, waiting to see who she actually is. But it turns out she is Taskmaster, and she said like one or two words at the end, but she mutters it, so I have no idea what she said. When I rewatch the movie and put on subtitles, I'll finally tell you what she says. But I have no idea what the hell she said in the movie theater because I don't have a clue. So yeah, she is Taskmaster in this, and I don't... Again, I have no problem with her being a woman. It's just because Taskmaster doesn't talk. And also, the first thing we see of Taskmaster is that a person came in and put some microchip, computer chip or flash drive, whatever, on the back of his head so he can see the data of the fighters and stuff like that. He was watching Black Panther doing his moves. He was watching Hawkeye at one point. So yeah, he was copying everyone. That's what he does. He mimics everyone. He has the Captain America shield and he has the sword too and stuff like that. So yeah, he mimics everyone. But the thing is that because Taskmaster doesn't talk, and also all Taskmaster does is fight, and he copies everyone, he doesn't have a personality. I'm sorry, I keep saying he. She doesn't have a personality at all. Like, there's nothing unique about Taskmaster besides being a copy. And they could have done so much more with that. But no, it's just a copy. And not, and that's the thing, you could have gone the stupid route and made it a clone of Natasha herself. At least it would have been interesting. But no, that's the thing. Why did you hire Olga Kurylenko and drop her name in the opening credits so it's not really much of a surprise, and then not have her do anything? Because she shows her face, has no action scenes, and that's it. And she puts on the mask again and then fights. But we can tell that's a stunt person in there. That's not Olga. So that's why even the casting of it makes no sense and is a letdown. Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems I had with this movie. And that was a big reveal in the finale. And it didn't mean much to me. And yeah, sure, it turns out that Taskmaster is the daughter of Ray Winstone when Natasha tried to blow up the building. And it turns out she didn't kill the Ray Winstone because he had no marks or anything or burns. But she did kill... She thought she killed the daughter, but it turned out the daughter survived. And the thing about the daughter is that she looked good. Seriously, you can still tell it's Olga, even though, yes, half her body is half her face is scarred, but that's it, only half her face. I thought they're gonna go like the RoboCop reboot route, where it turns out, oh no, Olga's upper half is the only one that survived the blast. Everything else is just robotic or something like that. Like she has a metal arm, metal legs and stuff like that. She could be like Darth Vader, like Anakin Skywalker turning into Darth Vader in Star Wars Episode 3. But no, they just only reveal the face. They don't even talk about the rest of her body. And Ray Winstone's like, oh yeah, you blew her face off. I was like, she did? No, she looks fine. She still has eyebrows. She still has hair. She still has a nose and a mouth and lips. She only has just the nasty Harry Osborn from Spider-Man 3 scar. That's it. Unless you're telling me that's reconstructive surgery or something like that, but they don't explain that. So I'm like, your daughter looks fine, man. You blew her face off. Really? Because she was engulfed in the explosion. She was engulfed by it. She looks fine. But yeah, what Ray Winstone did to his daughter was really, really evil. Like, all he did was make her into a slave. Like, all she knows is how to copy the Avengers, their fighting styles and stuff like that. And she has no free will. And also, she can't attack her father because of the pheromones he has. That's creepy. So yeah, what Ray Winstone did to the character was awful. And yeah, it was interesting, but unfortunately, the character of Taskmaster in this is not interesting. And that's a big problem. Why should we give a damn about Natasha fighting off Taskmaster if Taskmaster is not interesting? I mean, at first, when they showed them putting the USB drive, flash drive, whatever it is, and so Taskmaster could copy data of the Avengers and stuff like that, and the missions and the X-ray, blah blah blah, whatever. When they showed that off, I thought that Taskmaster is a cyborg or a robot at the point. So I was like, oh, it's a robot. Okay, boring. But then it turned out that it was an actual person. But that's still boring because the person doesn't speak. Oh my god. Again, they could have gone the route of like that Will Smith movie where with the clones, Gemini Man. Yeah, when it turns out that the fully cloaked figure at the end was actually another Will Smith clone, that was actually interesting, even though he didn't even speak at the time. But that was a cool part of the movie because it makes you think, oh my god, they have more clones. It's not just one Will Smith clone. There are more. So it gives you the idea of that. But here, no, there's nothing interesting about Taskmaster, and it's a shame because I recently played the Marvel's Avengers game from Square Enix, and I didn't go into the multiplayer aspect, but I played the single player and I enjoyed it. I really do. There are some big flaws in the game, but I mostly enjoyed the single player story. And Taskmaster was awesome in that game. Seriously, Taskmaster was also awesome in the PS4 Spider-Man game that came out a few years ago. So what the hell is going on here? I don't get it. I don't. So that's... And they had very short screen time too. So how come Taskmaster was done better in games for like 5 minutes than the entirety of this movie? I don't get it. And yeah, that's the thing. I do not care if it's a man or a woman. I just care if the character is done properly, done well. They did not. So that was a goddamn shame. And also, Ray Winstone just went on and on with his villain monologue at the end, and it just halted the action too. So and it was during the time where Red Guardian was fighting with the Taskmaster, and it keeps cutting away from that. And yeah, it was not even a good fight. It wasn't. It was a couple of throws, Taskmaster throwing a Red Guardian, and that's it, and it cuts away. Then it cuts back to Red Guardian getting his ass kicked, then it cuts away. And that's it. I mean, the finale was a mess. And also there's a scene where Natasha cannot attack Ray Winstone because of the pheromones, so she can't attack him. So she has no choice but to bash her face in and break her nose to look like Owen Wilson from... Seriously, she had the Owen Wilson nose. That was hilarious, honestly. And she said it back after that, of course. But yeah, But I understand why she had to stall for time because she has to know where the console is and the combination and all that stuff. But my God, it was so boring. It really was. It's just Ray, because the majority of it is Ray Winstone just monologuing, and it wasn't interesting. It wasn't like the senator from Metal Gear Rising, where it's a batshit insane but awesome speech from the senator in that one. No, it was such a boring villain monologue, and there's nothing interesting about it, nothing even funny about it. It's just a cliched villain monologue, and I hated it. And then she couldn't even kill him at the time because she was stopped by the other Black Widows. And that's the thing, they did the scene where it looked like she could die, it looked like Black Widow could die, but here's the problem with that. We know she will survive because she has to. She's in Infinity War, which takes place after this. She's in Endgame, which takes place way after this, 5 years after this, and she will die in Endgame. So what's up with the character stakes in this? It makes no sense. And also, there are so many points where Black Widow should have her arms broken off or her legs broken off or died. She is one of the luckiest humans who's not even a superhuman. She's not. She doesn't have the super soldier serum. She's not like a mutant. She's not an inhuman. She's not an alien. So how the fuck does she survive a lot of this? Because there's a bunch of times where she fell off a building, landed on a bunch of metal vents and construction equipment and stuff like that, and railings, and fell to the floor. How? And also, she's flung across doors, flung into a door. Her leg bashed into the window of a door, and she could still walk fine. She doesn't get injured at all. Yeah, she injures herself. She gets blood on herself because she injured herself. But all the other stunts, she does not get injured. Hell, Tom Cruise gets more injured than her in a Mission Impossible movie. How the hell did... I don't get it. You could say it's lucky, but no, it makes no sense if everyone else in the same situation gets injured. Red Guardian gets injured, and he has the super soldier serum. There's a scene at the end where Scarlett Johansson, Natasha, was asking everyone, is everyone okay? And you see Rachel Weisz limping, holding her stomach in, and she's like, I'm clearly injured. It was a funny line. And also, her little sister got injured. She got shot, bleeding all over her arm and stuff like that, too. So how the hell does she survive all this and also not limp? This is basically a Fast and the Furious movie with her. If you focus on her and her stunts and the fact that she should be injured at least once, at least be limping, she doesn't. I honestly don't get it. Because she doesn't have a metal skeleton, she has no super soldier serum, she's not an alien, she's just a normal human being, and she can survive all this shit. I don't get it. I honestly don't. And she's not wearing like super armor or anything too. Hell, in the first Taskmaster fight, Taskmaster kicked her so hard into the car and she fell off a bridge. And she's fine after that. Not knocked out or anything. No, she could swim. She could get out of the river easily. She is fine. Bull fucking shit. I refuse to believe that. And also, she landed fine at the finale when she's jumping off the Red Room Fortress and going through satellites and metal debris that's falling down and stuff like that. And she fell to the ground and stuff. Fine. Again, this feels like a Fast and the Furious movie. Seriously, at times with her. Oh, man. And that's the thing. I don't mind crazy action, but if you set up rules, I expect you to follow them. Like, at least in Fast and Furious, the recent movies, if certain people cannot get injured by certain things, and then you show other certain people can't get injured as well, at least I understood the rule. Oh, Dom and Letty survived this? Okay, I believe they could survive that. Oh, they survived this? Oh, they could survive that. But no, if you show everyone outside of Natasha getting injured and she doesn't, I couldn't suspend my disbelief. No, I couldn't. It's just ruined right there. But again, like I said, the action scenes are pretty cool. What else? So, yeah, Yelena was great. One of my favorite jokes is when she keeps calling Natasha a poser because she was doing like the superhero landing stunt, you know, where she lands with her 2 feet on the floor and she's like Spider-Man with her arm out and stuff like that, looking all sexy. She even comments on that. So when Yelena does it herself, she's like, oh, so disgusting. I love that. And Red Guardian, oh man, he was such a blast. I love that the first thing we see of David Harbour, at first I was very confused. I was like, he looks like a scientist or something like that. But when they were escaping on the on the airplane, and then he just lifts this, like, I forgot what it was. I think it was like a tractor or something like that, or some kind of equipment right there. And he just lifts it like it was nothing. I was like, whoa, okay. So it turns out he was really the Red Guardian. And he keeps talking about these stories about fishing, ice fishing, and the ice, and also Captain America too. And the scene where we saw him after 21 years in this prison, and he was doing this arm wrestling contest, and there was this... He was hilarious. I love the part where there's this giant big man, and he's like, "You're calling me a liar?" Bah! And the guy's arm just went like a limp noodle, and I'm like, oh my god. And yeah, it turns out that he could escape from this prison at any time because it was so easy for him. But he decides to stay there. That was hilarious. The only thing that stops him is like a cattle prod or something like that. But other than that, he doesn't really get injured. But the thing is, though, that they brought up a good point where he said that he met up with Captain America during a certain time period, and the giant muscular guy is saying that he was still trapped in the ice. How can you see him? So my friend and I were discussing, like, are they talking about the other Steve Rogers? Like the one that went back in time trying to bring back the Infinity Stones? So that's why what we're wondering, like, did he see that Steve Rogers at the time? So that's why it was very interesting. Because, and also, if it turns out that he did meet that Steve Rogers, the one that went back in time with the Infinity Stones, then why the fuck did Steve Rogers not do anything for Isaiah in Falcon and the Winter Soldier? That's my problem with it. Because he should have known. He should have known. You're telling me that Captain America doesn't even know about Isaiah? If he was not in ice at the time, if he went back in time and stuff like that? No, I refuse to believe that. That's something that he should have known also. But again, we'll see where it goes, because we don't know if Red Guardian will come back. I hope he does, in the because the end credit scene shows Yelena talking to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who reprises her role as Madam Hydra from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They're talking about her, Yelena, going to kill Hawkeye. So we know that it's going to lead to the Hawkeye TV series. And here's the thing. The end credit scene is the only scene that takes place after Endgame. It's the only scene. The rest of this movie, like from beginning to the end credits, shows off Natasha's origin of her being a young girl in Ohio. And then she's raised in the Red Room, raised to be a Black Widow. And then she's trying to kill everyone and destroy the Red Room. Yeah, and that takes place in the year 2016. So that's up to that. So that's the thing. If you take out the end credit scene, this movie should have been shown right before Infinity War. It should have. That's what it felt like. Because I honestly don't really see a point to this movie releasing after that. Because we know that Black Widow's dead. We know that. We know that she will die in Endgame. So now that you show us this, and there are scenes where we should be scared for her to die because she's in these life and death situations, but I don't feel anything. Because we know she will live, and she'll be in Infinity War, and she'll be in Endgame. So that's why I feel like this movie being released, and it has nothing to do with the pandemic. Really, honestly, it has nothing to do with the pandemic, or the pandemic delay, or anything like that. No. Even if this movie was released last year in May 2020, like it should have, I probably would have said the same thing. Like, this movie should have came out before Infinity War and Endgame, if it wasn't for the end credit scene. But the thing is that I felt like the end credit scene felt like it just tacked on just to promote the Hawkeye TV series. Like at the time, I didn't feel like they filmed that part until like recently. That's how I felt about the end credit scene. So that's why it felt, and also not just that, it kind of feels unnecessary in a way, because yeah, it is an entertaining movie, and yes, I like the family aspect of it, but at the same time, I felt like this movie kind of doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, especially since you released this movie after Infinity War and Endgame. So I wonder, what is the point of this movie? I honestly don't. Like, everyone's been asking for Black Widow to finally have her solo movie, and Disney's like, oh yeah, we'll finally do that after, she dies. I don't see the point in that. I honestly don't. I felt like Disney fucked up with this. I'm sorry, I really, because I feel like this would have a big impact if you released this like 3 years ago. That's it. Everyone finally gets their Black Widow movie. Everyone would have good action scenes, and also they feel intensity if Black Widow dies or not. So that's it. So this feels like a prequel movie that, in the end, doesn't even make me sad. I wasn't sad for Black Widow. I was sad for her in Endgame. I was not sad for her in this, and that's a goddamn shame because I was hoping that this would be like Crisis Core for Final Fantasy VII, where it focuses on Zack, entirely on Zack, and everyone knows Zack is gonna die. Everyone knows that, but the whole game revolves around him. It revolves around his character, and by the time we see his death, we're sad that such a great character has to die, and we know he's gonna die. Here has doesn't have the same effect. And I felt like if that's what they were trying to do, then they really failed. Because I did not feel sad at all. And also, the final shot of this movie is in the trailer where her looking out into the wreckage. Yeah, that's in the trailer. So, and I hate it when trailers do that, to be honest. Because if you see a trailer so many times, you just keep trying to see those certain scenes in the movie so you can piece it together and stuff like that. But if you show the final shot of the movie in the trailer, you kind of ruined it for me. Like in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2, where Spider-Man was attacking Rhino, or that horrible horror movie, The Apparition, where Ashley Green's face was being covered by the hands. I did not like that. Okay, so I do like the friend. I don't know the character's name, but he keeps giving them like the helicopter and the IDs and all that stuff. He was pretty fun. It was cool to see William Hurt back. I'm not sure if he was de-aged, but he did look younger in this. If he was de-aged, that's probably very good de-aging because I could not tell if that was de-aged. So William Hurt was back. That was pretty cool. They do not show anybody else besides the picture of Hawkeye in the end credits, and that's it. This is strictly a Black Widow movie. It only focuses on her. There are no special cameos from any of the Avengers, and yes, they do name drop Captain America, Black Panther, T'Challa, and all that stuff. But honestly, this is focused so much on Black Widow. And the thing is that the Taskmaster and Black Widow, they cause so much damage in these towns and cities, and things are falling out of the sky again. Oh yeah, the Red Room Fortress. Okay, so here's the thing. You're telling me that no one was able to find this at all? This is just like in Captain Marvel, where well, here's the difference in Captain Marvel. At least that took place in the 80s, so I guess it kind of makes sense why that space station was not found by anyone all that time. But, oh my god, come on, man. You're telling me that this is not even in space. This was just high in the atmosphere, and I guess it's copying like Themyscira from the Justice League movies and Wonder Woman movies, where it's surrounded by the clouds and stuff. But not really. No, it's slightly covered, but I'm pretty sure people could still find it. You're telling me that no one was able to find the Red Room Fortress all this time? It's in the air all this time for how many years? Who knows? But my god, you're telling me no one was able to find this thing? Not one. Iron Man never came across it. Thor never came across it. S.H.I.E.L.D. with their helicarriers and everything, monitoring everything. Are you telling me that they have some very good stealth technology at the time, so that's why no one could find the Red Room? I highly fucking doubt that. This thing is huge and it's in the sky. I mean, come on. And it happens to be above... I forgot where they're above, actually. Which country are they above in? I don't know. Because Ross was there very quickly, too. So, yeah, and everything was falling down, and Ross just happens to be there. So, where is this? I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out it was Ohio. Oh my god, yeah, some of these things didn't make any sense to me. How did they not find that? I mean, come on, really? It's a big-ass fortress in the sky! And it's not even that covered by the clouds, and it doesn't have, like, this cloaking technology, too, so I don't get it. I honestly don't. Well, it's a pretty big sky, David. Oh, bullshit. You're telling me with S.H.I.E.L.D. and his resources all those years, especially with the Avengers, especially with frickin' Thor and Iron Man, I don't get it. I honestly don't. I would laugh if it turns out that the fortress is still up there, if it was still up there after Infinity War and Endgame. But no, it's not. This is 2016, so it's destroyed. I thought Ray Winstone was fine. I thought he was. But other than that, That was it. He was not a very entertaining villain. I wish he was, but he was threatening at least. I like the fact that he keeps punching and slapping Black Widow in the face. They do have some callbacks with the face mask and stuff like that, with the copying Natasha copying Rachel Weisz and Rachel Weisz copying Natasha and stuff like that, and some funny lines from David Harbour. But other than that, again, I most of the times I mostly I did have an enjoyable time with this movie. I did have a problem with the finale, but I didn't hate the movie because of the finale. I didn't hate the movie because of Taskmaster. I mostly enjoyed it, and I guess it's because I'm back in the theaters again, and it feels so good. I'm a theater guy, I really am, and yes. I do have HBO Max. I do have Netflix. I do have Disney Plus. So if it's on those streaming sites, I would save money by not going to the theaters and just stay at home and watch it. But unfortunately, Black Widow is $30 on Disney Plus, and I don't want to spend that money. I really don't. And everyone knows that it's going to be on Disney Plus for free 4 months later, so it should be fine anyway. You know. But that's the thing. If you're thinking about watching this, I recommend it. I do. It is not close to one of the worst Marvel movies of all time. And yes, it did feel like an unnecessary movie, but again, I found it entertaining. If you all you want are good action scenes, this movie has it. If you want a good movie with Natasha's family, I recommend it. But if you're a big Taskmaster fan, you're gonna hate it. You're definitely gonna hate it. Oh man. Okay, so that's it for Black Widow. I'm gonna do more movie talks soon. I'm gonna do one on the Ice Road. Yes, the Liam Neeson movie, the Tomorrow War, the Chris Pratt movie, and Army of the Dead. So I'll talk about those movies soon. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. See you later. Peace.